You might be wondering, how does this work? And people who have done this effectively, what does that look like? Well, there happens to be Dr. Ruth Gotian, who's been studying people who have developed these skills to a high level of degree. In fact, she studies all of the world's top performers, top athletes, astronauts, famous politicians, famous successful Nobel Prize winners. And she started noticing a pattern between all these highly successful individuals who have had these great accomplishments. They all shared similar characteristics in common. And I'm going to share these 4 common traits that they have, which are traits where any one of us have access to, because they live in our hearts and they live in our minds. So what are these traits? Well, the first one is this concept of passion and purpose. And this is well beyond, my purpose is to make a lot of money, right? It's about, why am I doing what am I doing? Is it because I want to provide a better life for my kids than I had? Is it because I want to provide a better community and I want to serve my community better? Is it because I want to solve the problem of, I want to create incredible, exquisite food that people can savor and enjoy, but not have to, sacrifice a huge paycheck to be able to have? Whatever it is that drives you, you have to find it. It's got to be in your heart, and that's got to be your motivator and your driver. And all of the folks who've achieved anything great in this world had that passion and that purpose as their driver. The second element that they had was this concept of being solution seekers. There's nothing that will come easy in this world. There will always be challenges. But what these folks have a unique gift to do is not look at those challenges as the end, but as the beginning. And they seek to find solutions. And so when faced with a challenge, it's not about saying, oh, I can't do this. It's saying, I can't do this yet. And adding that last word, yet, means it gives you hope, right? It's holding on to possibility that it exists. And so all of these skills are about convincing yourself that, this challenge is not the end. How might I figure out how to solve this particular challenge? So it's overcoming adversity. Now, this next one is all about practicing skills. And even though you might overcome adversity, it's about developing. And if you understand a bit about how the brain works, it's like a sponge. It continues to evolve. But the more that we practice something that we don't know of, the stronger that bond exists and the better we become at it. If you think about an Olympic athlete, we just went through the Olympics. The same drills that an Olympic athlete was doing, a week before the Olympics, they started doing it when they were young. Let's take a runner, for example. Right? That drill that they learned in high school about running those drills, they were doing the exact same drills 2 weeks before the Olympics. It's about practicing the same skills to continuously improve on whatever those skills might be that we want to get better at. And the last one has to do with the concept of always filling our mind with new knowledge and with new learnings. And this can happen by watching others, talking with others, engaging with those in the area with which we want to develop. Being around the people that we want to aspire to develop the skills. And slowly we start learning, we ask questions, and it's constantly, that never ends. They're constantly asking questions. So these are the 4 skills that Dr. Gotian has noticed in all those who have been successful in achieving their aspirations. Now, I want to make this super concrete for you so that you experience it. So, I want you to all do this with me. I want you to take your hands and I want you to cross them. So go ahead, everybody cross your hands. Go ahead. Cross your hands. I want to make sure everybody's crossing their hands. Okay, now I want you to take a look at your hands. Now, some of you have your right arm crossed over your left, and some of you have your left arms crossed over your right. Now, do me a favor. Everyone who has their right hand crossed over their left, put your hands up. And someone please go take a picture, okay? So keep your hands up. Keep your hands up, all of those who have their right over their left. Hopefully the picture's taken, you can send it to me. Okay, they say people who cross their right arm over their left, you guys are all more intelligent. There you go. Okay, who crossed their left over their right? Everybody who crossed their left over their right, put your hands up. Someone take a picture, please, okay? Cross your left over your right. Okay, they say you're better looking. I don't know, that's what they say. Okay, so Why did I ask you to do that? Do me a favor. If you crossed right over left, I want you to do it the other way around. And if you did left over right, then I want you to do it right over left. So go ahead and do it the opposite way. Okay, what did you notice? And you know, if I were in the room with you right now, and you probably noticed the people beside you, when I asked you to do it the first time, you just did it. You looked at me and just like, yeah, okay, I'll cross my arms. But the second time I asked you to do it, many of you had to look down. Many of you looked around to look at others. There was a lot more noise, I'm guessing, in the room as well. Why? Because anytime we try something new, it's awkward and uncomfortable. It's different. We have to use more thinking processes. But what happens if we keep practicing that? Right? Now I want to unpack some things that are happening here. Now, first of all, this concept of crossing arms. Right now, you know, this crossing arms, you know, the opposite way, you know, it was awkward, it was uncomfortable, right? But you did it. Imagine when it's not as simple as crossing arms, right? If it's too awkward and uncomfortable, what's going to make you want to do it? This is where passion and purpose come in, right? It makes you push beyond the awkward and uncomfortable. Now, you know, this concept that we talked about problem solving, you all did it naturally, right? Our brains are wired to do this. When we did it the natural way, we didn't have to think about it, we just did it. But then what happens when it was awkward? Well, we had to look, we had to think, we had to process. Maybe we looked at the person beside us, right? And what we did is we figured out a way to overcome our challenges. Our body's naturally wired to do this. We just have to push ourselves to want to do it. And then what? Well, imagine if we kept practicing doing it this awkward and uncomfortable. Imagine if I took the next 7 minutes, 10 minutes to do this with you. You know, what would happen? Well, I waste 7 minutes that I don't have, but eventually it would get more comfortable. It wouldn't be so awkward and uncomfortable. But here's something interesting. If the only time you practice with these next 7 minutes, if I ran into you again a month from now or a year from now, and I asked you to cross your hands, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go back to doing what you're used to, because our mind is wired to do what's easy, not what's awkward and uncomfortable. And so this is where practice and repetition comes in. If there's a new skill or something you're trying to develop, it's not about doing it once, it's about doing it often and repeated over a long period of time. And that's where you start developing this skill, so that if you get asked to cross your arms, you can do them both ways without thinking. But that only happens after repeated practice over a long period of time. And now this last concept is learning. You know, you naturally did it. You looked to the side, you started talking, we were all talking more. Leverage that. Your natural inclination is to go and find other people, have conversations, explore, push your mind, try different new things. Never stop learning. Right? And I hope you remember that this simple activity of crossing arms, you all do it naturally. And I want you to apply it to whatever skill or new ability that you're trying to learn in whatever field that you might be in or that you might migrate yourself into. Okay, I want to end with a concrete example of this.